And one of the most important things, I think, is that it's not just about building your community as in getting more followers, but it's just making sure that your regular fans are really enjoying it and happy to be there. And what would they like?
Hey, we got it working.
Oh, thank goodness.
How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Actually, I'll take my glasses off to get rid of the glare. There we go. Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Nothing like a last little minute of a bit of troubleshooting, is there, to get the old adrenaline firing? There's no sound. Why is there no sound? And that is one of the joys of live streaming.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like you learn so much in such a short space of time when you say, right, I'm going to start live streaming.
Yeah, oh, very much so.
Like, there's so many things that can go wrong and you don't even think about it. It's like, it's mental.
It takes multitasking to a completely new level. You thought you had a lot going on when you were DJing in a club, but when you're running your own live stream as well.
Yeah, and do you find all that kind of stuff, like, it's tiring, isn't it? Like, kind of monitoring about 1,000 things all at once. It's like it drains you in a different way to how it is normally.
I think, like, I've really got used to it now. I think it's a little bit like, like when you're first learning to drive, you're like, hang on, how can I possibly, like, keep an eye on the road, like, listen to music, use this with one hand, change gears, like how? And I felt the same when I first started doing radio shows, but you kind of like gradually kind of get into the flow of it, and once you're in the flow and you kind of, everything kind of falls into place. I don't really find it tiring anymore. I just find it really enjoyable.
So for the people that don't know who you are, like, I've known about you and I've known you with DJing since literally I started Data Transmission, which was flipping 2008. So I know you must have been before that, but that's, I think, when people were talking about you, and I think people got, like, some of the staff were coming to watch you playing in South London, I think, at the time, and they were watching you go and see you play. So I've known about you for a long time, but for those that don't, let's tell us who you are, and yeah, tell us everything about you.
Firstly, hello everyone, it's so nice to see you, and I was supposed to be here a couple of weeks ago, but my internet let me down, so apologies to anyone then who was waiting, but now I'm here, and thank you for having me, Grahame. So yeah, I'm Lizzie Curious, and I have been DJing for about 20 years, producing for about 12. I also sing and songwrite, and alongside live streaming on Twitch, I also teach at Point Blank Music School. So I teach online for them, and I teach all about music business and marketing as well. And I've been streaming on Twitch for it is coming up to a year and a half, which is very exciting. And
Nice.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And like Grahame said, you learn so much.
When did you jump on? Was it literally the beginning of the pandemic?
Yeah, so my journey, and I was listening to Dr. Brown earlier, and hey, DB, great streams. You guys should all definitely make sure you're following Dr. Brown if you're not already. I'm sure you are, though. Yeah, same as with everyone. When the pandemic hit, it just, pulled the rug out from underneath me. I'd actually been working pretty hard to I'm based in the UK, and I've been working pretty hard for a few years, like establishing a really lovely fan base in the US. And I'd worked really hard to get my residency on Groove Cruise, which, is something that I really kind of hold dear. And I was just getting to the point with my US shows. I was about to sign with a DJ booking agency out in the States and all of these things. It was like the sort of culmination of quite a few years of hard work. So I was kind of looking to do a couple of shows in the US a month and then a couple in the UK. Groove Cruise had just happened in January. It had been amazing. And then the pandemic hit. And like everybody, for that first kind of month of lockdown was just a complete real awful time, to put it mildly. And then Groove Cruise set up one of the first sort of live stream festivals. So they did it back in, I think it was April of last year. And like Dr. Brown mentioned on his stream, we couldn't even get like any of the equipment. We were so, as you know, we were so locked down in our houses. It was like some kind of like like game show, I had like all of my equipment that I had in my studio out, like cables and connectors, and trying to kind of like piece things together, like what the hell was OBS, and it just was so complicated. But luckily, Groove Crews have got some amazing tech people, some absolute gurus, and I learned a lot through doing my first couple of streams through Groove Crews, and massively grateful to their tech gurus for just helping me, like WhatsApp video calls, plug this in, change this setting, do this. And then after that point, I just thought, gosh, yeah, this pandemic isn't, it became very apparent that it wasn't going to be going away very quickly. I was really missing connections with people. I felt I had my teaching, which was brilliant, but I felt I'd lost my purpose musically. I couldn't get motivated to write any new house tunes because I was feeling like, who's going to dance to them? Like and I felt, like very, very, I was going to say despairful, but I don't think that's a word, but I felt full of despair, which is quite unusual for me, being quite a cheerful person. So I thought, well, I'll just, I'll set up something on Twitch to give me something, to look forward to every week. And maybe if I can also, bring a bit of joy to some other people a week, that'll be really nice. And, to try and kind of make it a really happy, like positive place to be. So I started end of May last year. And yeah, huge amount of learning through trying and doing and watching YouTube videos, etc. But yeah, here I am a year and nearly a half later, and I've got the most amazing community. I absolutely adore my Curious crew, and it's just become such an important part of my career, and it's completely changed the way that I'm building my community, and being able to reach all of these different people with music is phenomenal.
That's really cool. The camera shortage right back in May was mental, wasn't it? Like no cameras, no sound cards. Like at the time, I saw loads of people buying like loads of gym kit and selling it and trying to. And I was like, I should have done that with cameras, damn, and streaming kit, like, and just sorted people. I just got in there quick and sorted everyone out. Like, that was mad. So then you jumped on Twitch. When did you start? What time were you doing? Like, I guess, how did you choose when you were going to stream? How did that work out?
Well, prior to live streaming, I've done quite a few radio shows. So I cut my teeth as a radio DJ on Select FM in London. Absolutely brilliant, like London station, really, really focused on dance music. So I had a brilliant couple of years with them, where I really learned a lot about how, to kind of engaging like with a radio audience is so different to like playing in a bar or a club. And so I learned a lot through doing that. And then after I went to the Caribbean and lived out there for a year and a half with the DJ residency. And then when I came back and I moved to Brighton, I joined up with Trickstar, and I had a year with Trickstar radio station in Brighton, and then I moved to Code South. So one thing that I'd always found was if you want a peak time slot on a radio show, they're really difficult to get. So if someone gets like drive time on a Friday, which is like a great slot for radio, there's going to be a resident on that station who's got it locked in. So for me, when I started on Twitch, it was an opportunity to be like, okay, what time would I like to stream? Like, when do I feel my music would be a good fit with people? And because I work from home anyway with teaching online for Point Blank, it meant that I could do a show like Drive Time Friday because I was already home. So like is a little bit less competition, because come Friday evenings, then a lot more DJs are going to go on to do those kind of shows. So I thought if I can do something a bit earlier, and it will be like Happy Friday, and I picked the time of around 4 or 5 p.m. because I do have a great community out in the States. So it kind of like worked well for like both time zones. Like UK, we're finishing up work, it's the weekend, and then in the US, it's either like sort of morning or kind of like lunchtime, and it's still Friday. So to really kind of like capture that like happy sort of Friday feeling. And at some point we just started saying like, oh, it's Friday, like I've just probably seen like someone else, and it's really, really stuck. So now like our shows are the Friday stream, and it's kind of, nice. A really nice feeling, like everyone comes in and everyone's like, oh, happy Friday, and it's really, really grown from there. And now I do a Tuesday stream as well. Again, I basically renamed the days of the week to fit in with what I love. So on Tuesdays, I also do 2 hours. And again, I do it at a time where there's not too much competition, and it also hopefully fits like with my US community as well, so 3 p.m. And then I do like a few pop-up streams a week as well, so sometimes on a weekend, maybe with a raid train, or like little things like with yourself, for example.
Yeah, the whole that's really interesting. Like the whole raid train thing is in it. Like I'm so interested in it because like I don't think for myself I'm going to get on one because it's just like you want to listen to music. They're just all about music, and I don't think we're going to be one where someone else is chatting about something else. I think I'm going to struggle to get on them. But for a small DJ, small like people that are just starting, it seems like a great opportunity to build audience and build community.
Yeah, it really is. I didn't even understand what a raid train was or a hype train. So many
Mm.
trains for like the first
Yeah.
few months when I was streaming, and now then I learned how they all work, and I was like, wow, this is really fantastic.
How do people approach you to be on them? Do they like? How do you have you set one up yourself? Like, how's it work for you?
So, a raid, as you know, is when like someone comes into your channel and they bring all
Yeah.
of their followers from their show, and it's like, oh, we've had a great stream, we want to continue that vibe, like let's take all of our fans, all of our community to another community that we really like. So it's this great way of kind of like paying it forward a little bit, making sure that your community have got somewhere great to go if they want to carry on hearing great music. It's a great way of supporting other streamers as well. And so a raid train is when like a streamer or a group of streamers or a team get together and they organize a whole kind of day of music, and you just go from one channel to another channel, and everyone supports during the day. And it kind of has like a bit of a sort of almost like a kind of a festival vibe to it, and
Mm.
you bringing in people from all around the world as well as your respective communities. um, so it is just a lot of fun. I've got one this Saturday for the Househeads, which is a US collective, and I did one last Tuesday for DJ Strobe, who I don't know if you've checked him out, but he's a brilliant streamer from the US. And on a Tuesday, see I'm doing it already, he organises the
Nice.
Just House raid train, which I took part in last week. And yeah, it's just a great way of being able to support other streamers and, getting your music heard by other communities, and kind of just quite kind of everyone gets to build. I think
Mm.
that's one of the great things about Twitch. It's such a supportive place to be. There's space for everybody to kind of create their own stream, and it's so nice to be able to support other communities and streamers as well.
That's really cool, and it's really cool that you're now partnering with these US. I'm interested in the kind of you mentioned yourself you're trying to get into the US and build an audience in the US and build your kind of residence in the US. How are you going about that? Because I'm guessing some people will be so interested to do that.
Yeah, it all kind of came from a long time ago when I first went to Miami Winter Music Conference in 2010, and just met an amazing group of people and just became really, really firm friends. So started going out to do shows for fun with them.
Mm.
And one of the people I met through that group of people is Scotty Boy, who I've done, as you know, a lot of collaborations with.
Mm.
And it was thanks to him that I got to perform on my first Groove Cruise in 2017. So Groove Cruise, for anyone who doesn't know, is an amazing floating dance music festival. There's about, I think for the one coming up in January, there's going to be about 4,000 of us, like 3 nights, 4 days, amazing artists. Like on the next one, there's Gorgon City, David Penn, Ferry Corsten. It's phenomenal
Sounds
to be a
cool.
part of. So it was after that when I was like, Groove Cruise, I feel like I'm home with Groove Cruise. I just
Mm.
feel like these people are my kind of people. So then I kind of made it my mission to become resident with them, which if you're not based in the US is going to be a lot harder, because building that audience is going to be tricky because you're not there doing shows all the time. So I was kind of doing that, working with a few different US promoters to get shows. And yeah, just kind of working really hard, like a lot of personal contacting of people and building up those relationships. And that's what's been so nice about Twitch, is I've been able to keep connected with all of those friends in the US, as well as like building up my community in different pockets of the world. So I have hopes that if everything finally kind of sorts out with the pandemic, that, you know, there will be opportunities to go and maybe, you know, visit some streamers in other countries and do some shows and kind of, you know, bring all of our communities together. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Well, that sounds cool. That sounds really cool. One thing I'm interested in is obviously when you start streaming, and it seems like I know I've spoken with everyone else. It's kind of like you have to bring a lot of people to Twitch to start off with. And how did you kind of do that? Was it through a social thing? Was it through messaging? Was it through a data? Has you built up other stuff around that helps you kind of grow that initial audience?
I think it is a combination of a couple of things. Like the first few streams that I did myself, I had maybe like 10 or 12 people watching. And even I know some streamers are like, oh, I can't, you know, even kind of shift it off 3 or 4. So whatever level you're starting at first, it can seem like you've got like a big mountain to climb. So my best tips are to really try and think about what you can bring to your stream to make it fun for people to be there. And I don't necessarily mean like fun, like my streams are all like happiness and rainbows and sequins and lovely music, you know. And that's what makes what I do special. You don't have to make it fun in that way, but you've got to bring something to people that they'll enjoy being there, whether it's, you know, perhaps you're doing 4-deck mixing or you've got great graphics or something that makes it unique and interesting. And I would say engaging with anyone that comes into your stream, it will make it really, really good. And I think for DJs that can be like a bit of a challenge, especially like if you're newer to mixing, going back to that thing of like, how could I possibly mix and chat to people and speak on a mic? And I would kind of say like, find what you feel comfortable doing, because as you can probably tell, I'm quite a naturally chatty person. So for me, when people come into my streams, you know, I'm jump on the mic, like welcome people, chat to people, try and remember little things about them, like where in the world are they listening in from? If they've got like an unusual handle, but I actually know their name is something else, I'll obviously welcome them with their handle, but then I'll be like, Grahame, it's so nice to see you, because I think making people feel valued as part of your community is really important. But you don't necessarily have to be jumping on the mic. I've got a friend who streams from Hong Kong, and he's regularly getting hundreds of people, and he plays music and he's just chatting, typing in the forum. So you don't have to, but I would say find something that you're comfortable with doing and make it your own. And then alongside that, I think it is going to be a combination of, you know, some streamers who are starting out don't have any kind of social media networks either. So in that respect, what you probably want to do is try to kind of, you know, go to some other communities, but the worst thing you can do is go to a community for the first time and then be like, hey, everyone, come and see my stream. Like, that's the worst thing to do. So you want to kind of find a couple of streamers that maybe have got like audiences similar kind of vibes to you and support them. Like, first and foremost, get to know their community, because that's when you might be streaming one day and that other streamer will be like, okay, I've finished now, who shall I go and check out? And then they'll see you. And you know, this has happened to me a few times. I've had raids from really big streamers, and it's all come about through making sure I've got to know their communities, etc. So it's kind of like, you don't want to do like the Twitch version of cold calling, which, and you know, like you or like I've had it where I go to like, there's different, like I love Doc Brown streams. I also love Shinta Loves House Music, and I'll, you know, go in and I'll put them on in the background if I'm doing stuff and like say hi to everyone. And then sometimes you'll get a message from someone that you don't know, be like, oh, hi there, like I stream on this day, can you come and watch me? And you know, it's like, that's too much too soon. So I think being a bit patient is really good. Whatever networks you do have, do tell them what you're doing. So if you've got a small email list, tell everyone when you'll be streaming. Get your family and friends involved, like, you know, in the early days, like and be a little bit patient. You know, it's like this is more of a marathon, not a sprint. So you know, and you know, it doesn't actually take too much to get to affiliate level. And then once you get to affiliate, then that's when you can really kind of make your channel your own with your own emotes, and obviously that's when people can subscribe for etc. But I would say to try to not get too fixated on that, and just see it as an opportunity to, play your music to people and to start kind of building a community. And I think if you go at it from that angle, then people will love coming to your streams and they'll want to be a part of it. And that's when you start to build your community.
That's really cool. One thing I was going to say is when I popped into your community, it was like I have to say it was like getting like a warm sunshine hug when I arrived. It was just like oh, that's real. Like I was like all like cozy and warm and like
that makes me so
like,
happy. I always say like thank you to my community, because making it that really happy, positive, friendly place to be. Like, people will come on a Friday and they're like, oh, like, I just wanted to share this good news I've had, and everyone's like, yes, that's awesome. And it's that kind of like positive, like, let's lift each other up and help each other, which I think goes back to like the vibes of the community. So I always kind of do say like thank you to my Curious crew, because without them it wouldn't have that same kind of welcoming feeling. So I am big ups to my Curious crew.
Stinky365 says hey.
Yeah,
hey.
Stinky. So Stinky is one of the first people I met on Twitch. So when I first realised I was going to start, I watched Doc Brown. I think Doc Brown maybe started like a week or two before me, and I was on Doc Brown's stream, like watching, chatting, and Stinky was there, and he was like one of my first friends that I made through Twitch. And now like he's been to my live shows in real life, and he's actually going to be DJing at my birthday, like real life live show in October. So it's just amazing how it's all kind of like these communities have grown.
That's so cool. Did you have any kind of like, did you procrastinate at the time when you started, or was it just like, I'm going to start, I'm going to go, I'm going to get, my camera's sort of finally coming? Did you have any kind of stoppages that were stopping you streaming at the start?
No, not really anything. I think it was just and I still get it from time to time. I was a little bit nervous before coming to chat to you, Grahame. I had the first few live streams that I did, I got really, really nervous, like crippling nerves, like the same as like the first few. Well, I say the first few. So I used to get such bad nerves before DJing, like full stop. But it didn't stop me from doing it. And one of the things I think about Twitch as well is like, for me, I try not to put too much pressure on myself. So like quite often when I'm talking and I get excited, then my words might get a bit muddled up. I'll get a bit tongue tied and I just be like, oh, whoops, like I'll try that again. I've had things before where like everyone, you've seen my lovely little dog Luna. She's like a big part of my streams, and there's been occasions a couple of times, not so much now because I've Luna proofed everything, but there's been occasions where like she ran by and like pulled out the audio cable and we had to like plug it in.
Oh,
but,
fuck.
Like for me, I'm like, it's live, it's me, like, occasionally, very occasionally, I might do a mix that isn't really quite up to the standard I would like. And again, I'm like, sorry, everybody, like, at least it's live. And I think that's part of it as well. Again, everyone has their own kind of vibe on their stream. But for me, I just try to say, like, this is a fun place to be, and to try not to put too much pressure on myself, because I do want it to be enjoyable, really.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I know about the tongue ties. I have them all the time, and we just cut them as bloopers now for Instagram, and and they're good. But
yeah, great content.
Yeah, exactly. Or my assistant, like when we're doing a cutting of a YouTube, it will like put like funny words over the YouTube videos. Just well, what the hell was that, G? Like,
yeah, it's just been such an amazing ride, and like Doc Brown was saying, I'm going to carry on with it. Like, this is going to be part of my music and career forever now. I've got a few plans of things that I'd like to do, like in the future, and my community is amazing and we continue to grow all the time, which is wonderful. So, I did kind of wonder back in sort of when things started opening up again in June and July, like what might happen. But I mean, it's all just continued to grow and grow for me. So, I absolutely love it.
Do you do anything specific to grow your community, like apart from just obviously apart from normally the streaming, but do you do anything outside of that to grow your community?
I think that for me, I try to, alongside having my overall, things that make my stream a fun place to be, I think getting involved in raid trains can be a great way to kind of get your music in your channel, heard by a related but different community. I also try to kind of bring people into my world on other platforms. So, and I learned a lot about Twitch by watching watching YouTube videos. Like, I learned so much about building my community from watching really big gamers how-to videos on YouTube. So, like, for anyone who's, because although it's a different type of streaming, a lot of like the concepts about building your community are the same, and obviously they know how to use Twitch, so I learned a lot and then kind of adapted it for like doing DJ sets, etc. And one of the most important things, I think, is that it's not just about building your community as in getting more followers, but it's just making sure that your regular fans are really enjoying it and happy to be there, and what would they like and what would enjoy them. So I think, like, I'm on the road to 2K followers at the moment, which is very exciting. And when I hit that, I know I've got a few things extra planned to do, but I think that it is just making sure the quality of your streams and what you're bringing to your community are really, really like good for them. And I think that if you focus on that you will build your community organically anyway, because people will discover you. Things will happen, like the other day I was on the homepage of Twitch, for example, and that's because I'd had a hype train. Lots and lots of, if people host your stream, that kind of triggers the Twitch algorithms to be like, hey, like, this is a good place to be. Sorry, I think it lagged then for a second. And if things like that happen, then new people are going to come to your stream. I have my chat set to followers only, because I like my streams to be kind of PG-13, because I have a lot of friends who listen and sometimes their kids listen, etc. So I have it set to followers only, which is also a good way of upping your followers and making sure that no meanies are going to come into your chat, like, because if someone is doing something sort of not so nice on Twitch, if they have to go through the rigmarole of following you and then waiting, that they're not going to do that. So it's a good way of keeping any nasty people out. If you're just starting out, though, you probably don't want to have that on, because you just want people to come and get involved in the chat. And then people can see, like, if they like it and if it's a place they want to hang out and they want to be. And not every stream is for every person, which is obviously totally fine. So then people will naturally, find out. And, making sure if someone new does follow you, thank them for following you, like, invite them to come and say hi in the chat, but also accept not everybody does want to get involved in chat, especially if you're doing music streams. A lot of people want to listen, they want to lurk and listen, they want the soundtrack to their work. And this is one thing I picked up from some big gaming streamers is, don't pressurize people to come into the chat. Not everybody likes to. It's just like in a club, some people want to be like down the front DJing, some people want to be at the back, like soaking up the atmosphere. And I think kind of respecting what people want to do is also really good. So I always kind of thank all my listeners and lurkers, but I'm not like on it. I say, like, if you want to come and say hi, we love to see you, but if you're listening and lurking, it's just great to know you're enjoying the music. And all of those things, I think, will naturally help to kind of build your community, but also make it like a really strong community as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think we're the same. We're, again, followers only on the chat. When we have the big front page ones, we kind of still have kind of followers only, because we just, like the other day we had a big front page one and we opened it up for like to everyone for about 20 minutes, and it was just like we were just banning everyone for about 20 minutes, because it was just ridiculously trolltastic,
Yeah, trolltastic. Yeah, you have to watch out for trolls.
Skeleton Key says one of the biggest streamers on Twitch calls it the 4 C's: community, collaboration, content, and consistency. Oh, I like that. Love that. Yes. And if I was going to add a 5th C, I'd say curious energy. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, we can have that for that. we might even give it one of these. Should we give one of these? We'll give it a smash.
You know, also I think sometimes it's trying things, not everything's going to work. So when I was kind of, you know, still learning about Twitch, I tried something last year called Beats and Eats, and the idea was that I would be cooking, because I love to listen to music while I'm cooking, so like listen to music, cooking, do like a nice recipe, chat to people. But it was just kind of a bit too much to do really, really well. If I was going to do that, you'd need like someone on production and 2 or 3 cameras, and the sound wasn't loud enough. But I tried it, but it just didn't quite work out. And I think that's also something as well, is, you know, you might try a few different things, and if something doesn't quite work out, like, don't beat yourself up about it, and just, you know, focus on what is working, and, you know, go for that.
Yeah, that does sound difficult. I'm like, I've got this space, and I'm like, I'm just about controlling this. I'm like, I'm not like cooking as well. Crap. Are you enjoying this interview? If you are, consider subscribing to us on YouTube. And if you want to watch them live, come and join us on Twitch. The link's below, twitch.tv/Grahame Farmer. We have live interviews, A&R sessions, demo listening sessions. We get labels into signing records. Come and join us on Twitch. It's good fun. Let's jump back into the interview, though. Let's go. One thing I was going to say is, yes, there's a lot of gamers on YouTube that talk about Twitch, and this is kind of one of the things why I was doing this stream, because I want to readdress that situation and put in their music people on YouTube. So we'll be cutting this for YouTube afterwards, because there's a lot, like these. All 3 of these have been separately. Have been great tips for music people that want to do music on Twitch.
That's the thing about Twitch as well, is in terms of helping you to build a community, it is just streaks ahead of, you know, other platforms. And I think it comes from the gaming culture, and just that kind of psychology of, like, when you're in a game, like working to get to the next level, and, you know, like earning like points and all of those little things. And it's fascinating for me to kind of unpick how brilliant Twitch is at helping you to build a loyal community. And as you know, like, I teach the music industry, and one of the things I teach is, like, your loyal fans are so much more valuable than a few hundred plays on Spotify. They're so much more valuable than, you know, like, I don't know, I can't think of any examples, but they're just really valuable. These engaged community members who love what you do, they'll go and tell other people. Like, I've had it with my stream where I've got my Canadian contingent, that I call them, and they're basically like a family spread out all around Canada who love house music, and the grandparents listen in, the parents, the teenagers. There's one lady, Janie, and she's got her little wiggly twins who've now they've grown up a bit. They've started like humming to the music, and they've got their community like through mine, and they, like, all the time they're telling more of their like extended family and friends to get involved. And I had that happen quite a lot. And if you've got, like, I hate using the word fans, because I always think like it sounds really big-headed, and I don't really like followers, because that sounds like a bit too disconnected. But I guess, you know, as I said, your kind of loyal fans, the ones that feel like friends, they're the ones that will stick with you for your career. They're the ones that will really support you. And it's not necessarily about someone who is supporting you financially, but it's that like emotional kind of support that they give you, in terms of that feeling of knowing people are going away, telling other people how, you know, for example, oh, if you want to be uplifted and feel happy, go and check out Lizzie's stream, and then that person comes. And I think for me that it's quality, not quantity, you know, for me. And I think, like, for people who are going into music production, you know, you'll follow the producers that you love and admire, and they're like, oh, I just had 10 million streams on this track, and I just, you know, and it just seems so far away from what you might feel you can achieve. But those numbers of streams aren't everything in a successful career. There are many different ways to have like a successful career in music, if that's what you love and you want to do. And I personally think Twitch is already and can be such a big part of that, and it brings you that community directly. You can talk to them and be like, hey, like, what do you think for my next release? Should I put out this track or this track? Like, you can get real-time feedback. Like, I play tracks that are like 70-80% finished to see how they go down with the community. And then I'll, and I think Dr. Brown mentioned earlier, like we did our track one day, like in the, peak lockdown time, and we were like playing versions of it on our streams, and our community got behind it and like, when's it coming out? And like he said, I think, part of the success from that came from our communities getting behind it. So it's fascinating.
I love that. It's really cool. Let's talk about what happens after your stream. Do you take obviously you're making 2 hours of content. Do you take that and put that anywhere else, or is it trying to just live on your stream?
For quite a while, I was recording it through Twitch as a VOD, which is, I believe, video on demand.
Yeah.
However, there are a few. If you're DJing on Twitch, there are a few licensing things that you really should be mindful of. And if you untick the box to create the VOD, that's a really good thing to do, because you're not infringing on nearly so many copyrights. So they're like a kind of a little tip there. But what you can do is record it through your OBS if you're using OBS, and then you can take little snippets and repurpose that content. So I do that. I'll take little snippets of, like, if something really fun happened, or like if there's like a comedy moment, like Luna's jumped up and made me like jump or whatever, or something like that. And then you can share that on your relative social media pages, and because for people to find you, you do need to be ideally more places than just Twitch. So platforms like Instagram are very good for like visual discoverable content. So yeah, share some clips from that on Instagram. Like, one of the things for me before the pandemic hit was being able to go and play like a new tune that I've got coming out in a club, like filming the crowd reaction, and then being able to share that on social media and be like, the crowd. And obviously we lost that in the pandemic. But now I can, take that video of me playing it on Twitch, and I have like a little thing set up called an emote wall. So when people are putting the emotes into the chat, they'll like fly across my screen, and it just makes it, again, like really fun and engaging. So if I've got like a new tune, then people might, if they love it, they'll drop loads of like heart comments into the chat, and then that will like fly up over the screen. So using little things like that is a great way to kind of tell people. So Streamlabs, you don't have to sign up for a Prime account to use quite a lot of the features in Streamlabs. So again, if you're just starting out and you're not too sure about how much budget you want to commit to things, there are quite a lot of free widgets in Streamlabs. And again, I went on YouTube and I googled how do I get flying emotes across my screen, and then watched a couple of how-to YouTube videos. But it's actually, if you go and set up your account with Streamlabs and link it to Twitch, and there's a widget called the emote wall, and then you can just load that into your OBS browser.
I was going to ask you actually what, like, that leads on quickly, because I've asked everyone else. So let's just go brass tacks. What tech do you use for streaming? Because I'm interested in everyone might be different. So what are you using?
Well, first of all, I just want to say this isn't the camera that I normally use. I've moved into my living room to do this one because I had to have my studio set up. Someone else is using it right now. So this camera isn't very good quality. So I do apologize about that. But I actually tried with my streaming camera, and it was really, really laggy. I know it seems a little bit glitchy now, but yeah, it was like, so I'm just using my laptop one. So the first few streams I did, I used my laptop camera, but they are notoriously bad quality. So steer clear of your laptop camera. The one that I've got is actually just here. And it's I couldn't get the one that's the go-to for when streamers are just starting out is the Logitech. You know the one, I forget what the model. Yeah. I couldn't get that because it was all sold out because of the pandemic. So I just searched for this one. It's Vitardi HDA26.
Okay.
But one of my big tips about your camera settings on Twitch, especially if you're a DJ, is a lot of cameras will struggle in low level light. So although for a lot of DJs they kind of want to have that kind of club environment with low level light, you might actually find things are greatly improved if you bring a bit more light into your streams. So my streams are actually like fairly like they probably almost look like a normal day in terms of lighting, but it does avoid a lot of that kind of pixelation that you can kind of get. I think they call it grey noise You know,
Yeah.
like when you get, if you are actually lucky enough to be in a club and you want to do some filming, and then you look at the footage and it's all like, yeah. So yeah, a camera, getting a good quality camera is really good, but I think the sound is the most important thing. So I've got the Focusrite 414 as my sound card, and I think that's absolutely great. But I think you can just use the Focus 212. It's a little bit less expensive, but again, during the pandemic, you couldn't. The 212 was sold out, so I bit the bullet and got the 414. But you know, so yeah, sound card, Focusrite 414. I have one laptop that I use for my Serato controller, and then a separate laptop for streaming, and then a really old laptop that was actually just, you know, feeling sorry for itself in my footstool until I got it out. And that's what I use to chat to people. So I actually have 3 different laptops going.
Whoa.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of the intensity off of the streaming laptop, because my DJ laptop is separate. So my streaming laptop can just be used for running OBS. And
Nice.
then that's all I've got going on. And a big tip, if your streaming laptop is struggling, is to like, don't have anything else running, just have OBS running when you're streaming. That's really, really important. So that's why, even, you know, if you can use like an old laptop to chat to people in the stream separately, that would really help as well. Yeah, and I've got an old MacBook that's my workhorse for DJing, the Serato controller, and then I did treat myself to a new MacBook earlier this year, which is my new studio MacBook, and I'm going to use that for streaming as well. Yeah, so my setup is quite basic compared to a lot of streamers. But I think that it's not just about having the most highest quality camera, it's about what your stream is like as a whole. So having a good camera is part of it, but there's lots of other things that you can do. You know, as I said, if you can't afford a great camera, have a play around with your lighting, because you might just find that actually things are really, really improved by, you know, even just having more lights on or letting some daylight in might actually really improve it.
Yeah, or sometimes you can use your phone as well, because obviously they've got great
Yeah,
cameras.
I've not tried that, but I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard using a phone is a really, really good option. I've just not tried it myself.
Doc Brown says he uses 3 machines as well. Wow, we're on. Grady Mar, we need to get on the more. Like, we used to use 1 machine, and that's about it. It's cool. I guess we're only using 1 camera and 1 machine, so and 1 light,
yeah. I think, you know, as you kind of learn more about Twitch, and when you start bringing in more interactions that happen with OBS and like different things that trigger different things. Sorry, it keeps lagging. I'm sorry, everybody. That's the other thing as well, you know, with Twitch, is you sometimes have to get used to troubleshooting on the fly. Like, something's not working, what is it? And I had it when I was doing a stream last year for my birthday, and I accidentally hit a shortcut command on my keyboard, and it made my tracks play backwards in Serato. I didn't know why. So
holy fuck.
some people, like, I was like, chat, like, anyone know what this is? And I think a couple of people kind of Googled it and someone knew, and we managed to figure it out. But yeah, things like that happen, and you just kind of got to just roll with it, and not get too stressed.
That's really funny. That's really cool. Yeah, we've had a few little gremlins, and we'd be like, what the fuck? And then it's been like, oh no, we've not plugged that in, or we've not done this, or we've not done that. And we're like, yeah, that's been fun. Let's talk about obviously Twitch. You can make revenue, and it's obviously an additional revenue that you can make from subscribers. How have you grown yours? Do you give them anything extra apart from what's kind of built into the platform, and how do you incentivize that kind of growth?
So I think, you know, having your subscribers on Twitch is really, really great. They're the people that are, you know, really love what you're doing, and they want to help you grow and succeed. And I think, you know, like in the music industry world, I think a lot of people are very aware now, even if you get like thousands and thousands of streams on Spotify, that doesn't, you know, that's not even going to buy you a cup of coffee. So, you know, as creators of music, you can spend days and days working on a track, and, you know, if you're not like bringing in income from live, for example, it can be a bit difficult. And it's really strange how things have evolved in music. Like, you know, we all always use the example of like, people will think nothing of going and spending like £3 on a coffee. But I mean, I remember going to buy vinyl and spending £8 or £9 on like one track on vinyl. That kind of whole thing has really changed. So for an artist to be able to sustain themselves, like a creator of music, there are different routes you can go, but having a community that want to kind of support you is just brilliant. And there are, in the last few years, like Patreon and Kickstarter and all those things have evolved, because I think people understand that creating music takes time and it does take money, and we all need to be able to kind of like feed ourselves and sometimes buy new equipment, etc. So subscriptions are a great way of supporting a streamer that you like. And if you want to create a great community, and you want to bring something great, it does take a little bit of work. And that is time when you could potentially be going out and like earning money in a job. So your subscribers enable you to put your energies into creating really, really great streams. So obviously the first step is getting to be an affiliate. And then when you hit affiliate, I think that it's quite good to think about the emotes that you are giving to your subscribers. And ideally you want to have emotes that are fun for them to use, but also people might see in different channels and be like, oh, where did you get that? So for me, one of the great things that really helped was one of my mods, Trace, is also a designer, and he really got on Twitch early and understood the mechanics of it, and he really helped me with my emotes designs and made some great suggestions. And one of the things was that I've got is 2 big blocks that spell out groove together, and people often go and use those in other platforms, and I've got 2 tracks with the word groove in it. One is the cover of Groove is in the Heart, and one is Lost in the Groove. And then also because of my residency with Groove Cruise, so like those get used a lot in other channels. And I've got one emote of my little dog Luna, which is by far and away the most used one. And so I think, create emotes that you put a bit of thought into that people are going to enjoy using. I have a few commands that only my subscribers can activate. So I have one that brings like confetti down on the stream. I have one that's this little slide of Luna that was probably, of anything that I've learned how to do, that's what I'm most proud of. You type in the command Luna and her little face like appears that side, and then another one pops up like that, and then that. So if people are like, where's Luna? But if she's asleep in her basket and I don't want to wake her up, then that can come across. So
that's
cool. A few little
I like
things
that.
like that.
That's really cool. I want to do that. That's well
That's
cool.
the most used command as well, definitely. And I think, the whole thing of really thanking subscribers is really important. Like anyone who gets involved with your stream, being really, really grateful for them, because they're the people that will help you grow. So those are the main things that I have, for my subscribers. And I am, on my very, very long to-do list is setting up some merch. I have some merch set up on Dizzy Jam, but I've got like some plans for better stuff that I want to do. And then I'll be giving my subscribers discounts on that, for example. So little things like that.
Cool.
Just any way I can to, show my thanks.
That's cool. Lib says, could you not use a phone to chat while streaming to save on the 3 laptops, or would that look unprofessional?
Here's the thing. So yes, absolutely you could. And again, I think like setting up on Twitch, like we've just been through a pandemic, so we don't have lots of money to spare. And as I said, I just had an old laptop that literally, could just about connect to the internet, and that was it. So you absolutely could use a phone. What you want to do is to try to just think about your scene, which is what we call like what people can see, and if you're on your phone, it can look a little bit like I'm doing it now, like I'm imagining I'm texting. It can look a little bit like you're not very engaged with your community. So what you could do is set your phone up, and maybe just see, I don't really have that much of a need to get on and actually chat, but that's how I've set mine up, because I'm on the mic all the time. So I just kind of use chat occasionally to, like, people ask for a track ID and then I'll type it in there. and like to trigger some commands. So I would say like have a play around and what works well with you, but just kind of maybe if you are going to use your phone, try to find a way to do it that doesn't detract you too much from like delivering like the stream. That would be, I've used my phone occasionally. It's, it's like not the end of the world at all, but it's just always trying to think about what the experience is like for those viewers,
I guess don't let it stop you from starting. Just
exactly.
use what you've got to start and get on, and then make upgrades.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I was going to say, like as well about subscribing and cheering and things is, and again, I picked this up from watching another really big streamer in gaming and how he built his community, and he was like, just kind of tread that fine line, because if all you think about is monetizing, you can kind of lose a lot of the joy through just having a great community. And I think that's really, really good advice. So, I think I kind of say it like anyone who wants to go into running events in the music industry, you really want to do it because you love it, because the money side of it isn't guaranteed. So I think like when it comes to kind of monetizing what you do, just always kind of try and think about like how will your community appreciate that, how will they enjoy it, and then like I think the subscriptions will follow when people can see you're really, really putting an effort in.
That's cool. I hope everyone's enjoyed this today, and I hope there's loads of people that have been sort of in the chat saying they want to start streaming now and they want to start getting involved. It's like
great,
wicked.
yeah. Give it a go. You can learn so much. Like I said, there's so many really, alongside your fantastic, informative streams here on Twitch, you can learn a lot through, watching what gamers are doing in terms of like going to their YouTube channels and like I've learned so much on Twitch just by Googling, how do I do this? How do I do that?
Are you using Discord at all for after streams?
No, I haven't set up Discord. I just don't really have time, to kind of manage that alongside everything else. I think that a lot of streamers are very keen to get Discord up and running early, but I think it depends like on your community, because obviously like Discord comes from the gaming community as far as I understand it primarily, which ties in really well with Twitch. But if you've got a lot of people who've come to your community and they don't use Discord, it might not be the best use of your time setting one up. And I don't think I have that. I've done a little bit of market research and I've asked in chat before, and there's, like a handful of people like, oh yeah, I want it. But you just kind of have to balance out, do I have the time to kind of grow a community there, etc. It's something I'd definitely like to do, but my to-do list is always, ridiculously long. And that's just something that I just haven't quite got the time to do yet.
Yeah, we've been growing ours, and we kind of use it for our for A&R stuff. We announce stuff in there first, and like when we're doing a label session where we've got labels in and we're going to listen to music for the label, then we announce it in there first and kind of just put stuff in there first. I've really gone off Facebook quite a lot, apart from when I'm running ads. So it's like, where can I have that kind of? I'm trying to move my Facebook community into somewhere, and it seems to be a nice place to move it to. Yeah,
Discord I think enables you. I think it has more of a community feel than Facebook as well. I think like I love the way you can have like you can set up with all your different like channels down the side. Kind of reminds me about like the sort of the good old days of like chat forums before Facebook.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's like proper like it's probably like forums, or I know you were on there. Don't stay in like proper like, old school, old school forum and or DSI. Like, I love DSI, but. Yeah, that's what I kind of like about it. What's it say? Oh, DJ Noah says you have to balance your bandwidth within the platform on the World Wide Web.
I think the main thing, if it's about the technical specifications, is it's all about your upload speed. And that's like the biggest tip that I can give is to hardwire like into your router. Don't use your Wi-Fi, like hardwire in, and that will give you such a better speed. That's like probably like one of the best tips that I got given early on.
Yeah, we kind of have to, because obviously I'm in the shed and the house is over there, and we have to run a long wire to the
Yeah,
house.
I've done a couple of streams from my friend's house, and he's got a pool, and he bought like, I think it's like a 20-meter Ethernet cable for
Yeah,
me
that's
to
what we've
go
got.
from his
That's what we've
house.
got.
Yeah.
That's what we've got. Yeah, that's what we've got. And we keep kind of upgrading. We bought like I'm sure you're going to appreciate these. We bought these disco ball planters that are
Oh,
going to get,
nice.
and they're going to have plants in them. But as you can
Nice.
see, we've got two of these. They can hang or they can sit. And I've got the hangy bits. But until those arrive, we've turned our planter into Captain Planter, who just sort of
Oh,
sits there.
lovely.
Hi, Captain Planter. Good to see you again. So we have a lot of stupidity on here as well. As well as informative.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that. That's it. You know, like, yeah, just, you know, we just need like good vibes and uplifting fun stuff, don't we? That's like so important. So yeah.
Wicked. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you to all the people that joined me today. Thanks Frank Fraga, thanks Doc Brown. This has been a fun stream, and we're actually going to have some content on YouTube afterwards as well. So if you're not following on YouTube, we've got loads of videos like this where we chop these out and make them into videos. But we're going to have loads now. We're going to have at least 3 videos for artists that want to be on Twitch, which is going to be good. So we're going to start growing that as well.
Tag me in so I can then share it on all my socials as well. And
Will
if anyone did want to, you can find me on all of the various social media channels. And there's usually lots of pictures of my dog as well.
We've been putting all your links in the chat throughout the whole thing.
Oh,
so
amazing.
hopefully
Thank
we've
so
drumped
much.
We've been putting your Instagram and your Twitch and all your links in the chat.
Thanks. Yeah, come and say hi.
As with all of them.
Yay. Yeah,
and your
you know,
Spotify playlist as well. We found your Spotify playlist.
Thanks. Yeah, I've got a new track coming out this Friday and next Friday. It's like buses. You're like,
nice,
because the labels are scheduling them and then loads come along at once. So yeah, I've got some new releases coming out, and I'm very excited about that. Well, thank you for having me, Grahame. It's been so nice to chat, and it all came about because you raided me, didn't you, when you were in isolation a couple of weeks ago, and I was streaming, and then you raided me, and I was like, oh, this is like, thank you so much. And then
oh my god, yeah, that was mental. So I think that was in the week, and because I basically. As part of my thing with Twitch, I have to do so many hours of streaming a month, and it was the Saturday was the last day of the month, and I literally just got COVID, and I said to my assistant, look, well, I'll just jump on and do the last few hours and just kind of push the hours up a little bit so we can kind of just make sure we're hitting the right amount. And I literally was on the stream like 5 minutes, and like this really famous person raided me with like 300 and 400 people, and I was like literally dying, and I was like, I was texting my sister going, I'm dying and I've now got 400 people watching me. What the fuck are we gonna do? Like this is gonna be fun. Like fuck. So that kind of then got me in the head of like, shit, I should be doing this more often, because like, let's welcome the raid gods and kind of like put some raid love out there. So I was like, and then I spotted you and I was like, right, we're jumping into yours. And
yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah, and Grady Mars come along to quite a few of my streams since, so it just, you know, shows how these like raids can really help us build our communities. And I just got Luna up to say hello to you as well, because she's really the star of my streams. Oh, you pups.
I went into Ardland stream, and he had loads of people playing, and actually one of the people that played has now featured on Data Transmission because I enjoyed her set so much as part of the set. I've kind of been finding people for Data Transmission as well from Twitch streams, which has been cool.
Oh, great. Well, I should speak to you about that then, shouldn't I?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
See, it's all about like networking and building your communities and meeting awesome people and sharing great music. And sorry to everyone, my camera quality hasn't been great. As I said, we just had to do a quick last minute swap out, and I had to get my old laptop because the sound wasn't quite working. So apologies, it's not like the best quality, but hopefully the information has been really helpful for everybody.
It's all good. What was your biggest takeaway from that video? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you're getting out of these videos. I'll be reading all the comments and replying to them. If you've got any questions about the video or you've got any thoughts about the video, let me know in the comments below, and I'll be jumping in those comments afterwards. Let me know. I'd love to see you in the comments. Also, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. is free. And you can always unsubscribe anyway. Love to grow this channel and this community on YouTube, so please consider subscribing. It means you get the videos first and you get notified when the videos go live. If you want to watch these interviews live, come and join us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Grahame Farmer. The link is in the description. Come and join us live on Twitch. Subscribe over there and join us live in the chat and be part of the OGs in the crew. Finally, if you want to join our big networking server for producers, DJs, artists, come and join us on Discord. It's really cool. It's really fun hanging out in Discord. Again, the link's below. Join us in the Discord. And you get all the access to all the A&R feedback sessions and all the forms to submit your tracks to labels first. They're always in there first. I'll be answering questions in there again as well. Join us in there. It's good fun. Thanks again for joining us on YouTube, and I will see you in the next video or live stream. I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.